Chapter 861, Slaughter. Nan Gongsheng was taller than before, and his eyes were silver and purple. He had purple and blood-colored hair, and some bright purple-red tattoos could be seen faintly on his skin. A wicked and cruel smile formed on his face as he pressured the geniuses present. The geniuses found it hard to breathe, and some king's true yuan was unable to be used. Luckily, the terrifying wicked ore only descended for an instant before fading away. Hutilda. Only then did the elites outside let out a breath, and they looked in shock at Nan Gongsheng, who was walking toward the God's Array building. "Everyone, watch out," Zhu Wuji warned. "That person's aura is extremely weird, and it's similar to the remnant god power that was within the evil Sky Tower. He has probably been assimilated by the power of the evil god, and his personality has been changed." Hearing that, discussion broke out amongst the experts as they looked at Nan Gongsheng with wariness and cautiousness. Zhu Wuji's eyes twinkled as coldness flashed on his face. He had been in the evil Sky Tower, so he could guess that Nan Gongsheng may have inherited the remaining power of the ancient god. "That's right. I've also been in the evil Sky Tower." No wonder the aura within the evil Sky Tower has disappeared. The kings outside the God's Array building glanced at Nan Gongsheng with a hint of greed. No matter what else was said, Nan Gongsheng had touched the domain of gods and even inherited the power of the ancient god Ziyang. Why wouldn't they be jealous? "Everyone, let's team up and capture this brat and interrogate the secrets of the ancient god Ziyang out of him," Zhu Wuji suggested. There were at least 20 Void God Realm kings outside the God's Array building. With so many kings, even emperors would need to retreat. Furthermore, Nan Gongsheng's cultivation was only at the peak tier king level. Shua, shua, shua. Figures started to flash as the peak tier king Zhu Wuji and 6 domain level kings attacked. Zhu Wuji's battle power was already unrivaled below the emperor level before he broke through to a peak tier king. Demonic Sky Hand. Zhu Wuji roared as one of his arms expanded and started to burn. A pitch-black giant hand summoned waves of black flames that lashed out at Nan Gongsheng. Boom tilde. The black hand was dozens of yards wide as it reached out from a dark whirlpool. Its power was more than twice as much as before. Zhu Wuji's demonic sky technique has reached the 16th level, and his demonic sky hand has become stronger. Some of the geniuses present exclaimed. This attack was taking place in Ziyang Palace, where all powers were suppressed. If they were in the outside world, this palm could shock heaven and earth. Without a doubt, Zhu Wuji could even exchange a couple blows with an emperor. Bam, boom, boom. There were 6 domain level kings that attacked as well. Some of them had battle power comparable to peak tier kings. Ha 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 ha. Kill this thief. Some of the nearby kings couldn't help but release their anger of having been plundered by the demonic duo. Boom tilde. Bam, bam. As all the attacks were about to land on Nan Gongsheng, a bunch of ants. Nan Gongsheng revealed a wicked and cruel expression as he spoke each word with a pause. He just stood there and let the attacks land on him. Nu tilde. Wicked figures formed around Nan Gongsheng and charged out in every direction like ancient bloodthirsty demons. Crack. Zhu Wuji's demonic sky hand was shattered, and the other king's attacks were ripped apart like paper. Screams and cries then started to sound. Bam, bam, bam. Zhu Wuji and the other 6 kings were sent flying by a dominating force that could suppress heaven and earth. How is this possible? Zhu Wuji was stunned as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't have the ability to fight back at all. The terrifying power had completely suppressed them. Wah, wah. Several kings spat out mouthfuls of blood as they were sent flying and fainted. Ugh, ugh. A few other kings and more than a dozen half-step kings were immediately killed by the remaining shockwave. All of this happened in the span of one breath. S2. The elites present all took in a cold breath. What kind of power is this? Just a basic counterattack from his true yuan was able to send Zhu Wuji flying and kill several kings and more than a dozen half-step kings. Some experts' backs were drenched in cold sweat. Zhu Wuji lay on the ground, and his eyes were full of panic and disbelief. Those that dare to offend me shall die. A cruel smile formed on Nan Gongsheng's face as his cold gaze swept over Zhu Wuji and the experts from Nine Darkness Palace behind him. "Everyone, watch out." Zhu Wuji's expression changed dramatically as he circulated his true yuan. Demonic Sky Force Field. Zhu Wuji got up as a black force field started to form around him. This demonic sky force field was Zhu Wuji's defensive technique that could slow down and absorb attacks. However, the unexpected happened right as his demonic sky force field formed. Die. A blur of silver and purple images that glittered with a blood-colored light landed on Zhu Wuji with a boom. Ugh! A scream sounded, but it quickly ended. Zhu Wuji's body had turned into a puddle of blood. Even his Yuan soul was destroyed. Zhu Wuji, Senior Zhu. The expressions of the geniuses and elites from Nine Darkness Palace changed dramatically, and everyone's hairs stood up as a coldness spread throughout their bodies. The faces of those that had attacked Nan Gongsheng before went pale white. Terrifying. He killed Zhu Wuji in one blow. What kind of power is this? Could Nan Gongsheng really have inherited the power of the evil god? After the chaos was dead silence. This scene even caught the attention of the major figures from the Imperials and Sky Suspension Palace within the God's Array building. What terrifying power! It's the same as the power from the evil Sky Tower. Xuan Yuanwen's expression became solemn. Zhou Feng, Xin Wu, and company also looked out. What they saw next was a slaughter. Ugh! The remaining kings and half-step kings from Nine Darkness Palace cried out as a blur of silver and purple images turned them into a puddle of blood and water. Nan Gongsheng's attacks were extremely unique. They crushed both the soul and physical body. Physical bodies and Yuan souls were both killed. How is this possible? That's a characteristic that belongs to Mystic Light's sacred power. The ninth prince's true Yuan and bloodline started to tremble. Xin Wun's and Xuan Yuanwen's faces both became solemn. At this moment in time, Nan Gongsheng was terrifying, and he had exceeded normal limits. In just a breath or two, the entire elite group from Nine Darkness Palace was taken out by Nan Gongsheng. Nan Gongsheng then licked his lips and gave a wicked smile as he looked toward some of the kings who also attacked him. Arg! These kings' souls almost flew away, and they started to run as fast as they could even if they were injured. Boom! Bing! Bing! Nan Gongsheng raised his hand and killed the kings and half-step kings like he was stomping on ants. Stop! The apricot-robed female from Sky Suspension Palace, Luo Xun, the 8th prince, the wrinkled elder, and some other kings from the imperial group all tried to stop him. Bam, bam, bam. These strong kings were pushed back by a layer of silver and purple light before they even managed to get close. Sacred Emperor's sword. The 13th prince roared as he drew out a beaming golden sword. Arg! Before he could even attack, a wicked silver and purple figure sent him flying. Chaos broke out outside the God's Array building. Wayne Tilda. At the same time, the white door frame on the God's Array building started to close as it lost the energy from the kings. Stop! Xuan Yuanwen reached out and stabilized the white door frame as he sent a surge of emperor intent toward Nan Gongsheng. Nan Gongsheng's footsteps paused as he licked his lips and glanced at the only emperor present, Xuan Yuanwen. The surge of emperor intent hadn't affected him at all. Instead, it just ignited Nan Gongsheng's battle intent and fierceness. Silver and purple light emanated from his body, and the purple and blood-colored flower markings on his skin became brighter. The terrifying aura of power made everyone unable to breathe. Those below the Void God realm were unable to use their true Yuan, and even their bloodline power was completely suppressed. This power. Xuan Yuanwen felt the true Yuan within his body shake, and he couldn't circulate it as he wished. The biggest difference between kings and emperors was the soul. There wasn't too much difference in terms of power itself. This meant that even someone as strong as Xuan Yuanwen could be suppressed in terms of power. Zhou Feng, why aren't you stopping him? Senior Marshal Brothers Yuge thought of something in this situation. At this instant, no one could suppress Nan Gongsheng. Even Xuan Yuanwen couldn't. Even if he could though, an all-out fight would be disastrous. Mo Dongyao gave a cold glance toward Zhou Feng, as if saying that all of this was his fault. Luckily, Nan Gongsheng hasn't completely lost his mind. The ones that he killed were only those that attacked him. Zhou Feng faintly nodded his head. Luckily, Senior Marshal Brothers Yuge, the 9th prince, and company almost choked. Nan Gongsheng's battle power was unrivaled. He could slay gods and Buddhas if they tried to stop him. In just a short while, the kings in front of the God's Array building had scattered in fear. Nan Gongsheng felt bored. He licked his lips as he approached Xuan Yuanwen step by step with his terrifying aura. Xuan Yuanwen was enraged, and the intent in his eyes was condensed to the limit. He raised his hand, and crystalline beams of light that radiated a forbidden aura appeared in the air. Stop! The expressions of Senior Marshal Brothers Yuge, Sun Wu, and the various Imperial experts changed dramatically. No one knew what would happen if they started to truly fight. From the strength that Nan Gongsheng displayed, he would be undefeatable unless everyone teamed up. Furthermore, this was just Nan Gongsheng alone. He was only one member of the purple-haired demonic duo. Enough! A voice sounded in the tense atmosphere. This voice broke the aura that suppressed everyone, and everyone instantly felt the pressure decrease. Nan Gongsheng's footsteps stopped, and he started to struggle as the bloodthirsty coldness within him started to fade. Hutilda, Senior Marshal Brothers Yuge and company all let out a long breath as they looked at the purple-haired youth with slightly furrowed eyebrows. Everyone familiar with them knew that, of the two purple-haired demonic duo members, it was this purple-haired youth that was the leader. Only he could stop Nan Gongsheng. Chapter 862, Life or Death. Zhou Feng's words made all the other geniuses present let out a breath as the terrifying aura that was suppressing everyone quickly faded. The purple-haired demonic duo always worked together in the divine illusion dimension. It would be hard to find someone else that could stop Nan Gongsheng, whose battle power was unrivaled against everyone other than Zhou Feng. Hearing his voice, the aura around Nan Gongsheng started to fade, and the cruel expression on his face smoothed out. Shua! Nan Gongsheng turned into a blurry silver and purple figure that quickly entered the God's Array building. Most of the people couldn't even see how he moved. Bing, 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 bing. Some of the kings within the God's Array building were extremely tense. One had to know that Nan Gongsheng had the ability to instantly kill a peak-tier king, and even Void God Realm emperors might not be his match. Zhu Wuji's battle power was already enough to exchange a blow or two with an emperor. Apart from Xuan Yuanwen, everyone else could possibly be insta-killed by Nan Gongsheng. Su. With a flash, Nan Gongsheng approached the purple-haired youth in the God's Array building. Brother Feng. Zhou Yufei's expression changed. She became worried because Nan Gongsheng's personality and attitude had changed. After inheriting the power of the evil god, no one knew whether he would be the Nan Gongsheng from before. Shua! When the flash of silver and purple stopped, Nan Gongsheng appeared next to Zhou Feng. The two stood shoulder to shoulder and formed a demonic duo. Hutilda! Some of the kings present let out a breath. Luckily, Nan Gongsheng hadn't lost complete control. Senior Marshal Brothers Yuge sweated. However, all of the people looked at Nan Gongsheng with wariness. Nan Gongsheng's absolute power scared everyone present, and his cold and emotionless slaughter made them go cold. Zhou Feng's emotions remained the same, calm. Even now, this youth was surrounded in mystery and no one could see through him. However, those that had watched him clash against the Blue Serpent King duo wouldn't ever forget it. Some time ago, this youth had almost managed to slay the 9th and 10th ranks on the Imperial Genius rankings by himself. The Blue Serpent King duo didn't even dare to appear after that. Nan Gongsheng, do you know how to resolve the Forbidden Array? Zhou Feng suddenly spoke. He had been waiting for Nan Gongsheng over the past few days since there was this possibility. Right now, no one was able to solve the Forbidden Array within the God's Array building, and there were only 10 days left till the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon charged into Ziyang Palace and slaughtered them all. Zhou Feng had to team up with everyone else in order to face this great foe and find out how to escape. Zhou Feng's words caught the attention of the other kings. Could it be that Nan Gongsheng knew about arrays? But from the cruelty and bloodthirstiness he displayed, he didn't seem like the type. I came over precisely for that reason, Nan Gongsheng said as he glanced over some of the wary and fearful kings. His gaze was cold, as if he was looking down on ants. His eyes would struggle and reveal a complex emotion only when his gaze landed on the face of the purple-haired youth next to him. Nan Gongsheng didn't understand why this youth could still remain so cold in front of his terrifying power. Senior Marshal Brother Nan Gongsheng, do you know how to solve it? Zhou Yufei asked with joy. There were only 10 days left for them, and everyone obviously wanted to live. I have the array blueprint. We can try to fix it, but don't even think about controlling it unless you become a demigod, Nan Gongsheng said emotionlessly. Hearing that, Senior Marshall Brothers Huge and Company revealed joyful expressions. The God's Forbidden Array was in the domain of gods. How could mortals control it? No wonder the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was so disdainful after knowing their plan. Fixing the core of the God's Forbidden Array will at least give us more time, an Imperial Array Master said. Nan Gongxing then closed his eyes and started to send the blueprint to Senior Marshall Brothers Huge with his divine sense. The others responsible for solving the array soon received the blueprint as well. So profound. As expected of the God's Forbidden Array, Senior Marshall Brothers Huge and several other Array Masters couldn't help but sigh as they became entranced. Of course, fixing the array still required some time, but now they had the blueprint. Time passed by slowly, and the shadow of death that the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon brought slowly covered everyone within Ziyang Palace. The Ziyang Palace was dead silent, and some of the natives here could already feel the aura of disaster and were trembling with unease. 1 day. 2 days. 3 days. The amount of time that they had left was decreasing. Roar, boom, bam. The large black-scaled body of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was smashing against the God's Forbidden Array, and the majority of the light radiating from the God's Forbidden Array had faded. Every time the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon clashed against it, a large hole would appear. Normal humans or Yao beasts would already be able to enter Ziyang Palace. However, as the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was too big, it couldn't enter yet. The repairing function of the God's Forbidden Array was still there, and the damaged areas were quickly recovered. There's only 5 days left until all of you will turn into dust in front of the Destruction Dragon race. The roar of a dragon sounded throughout Ziyang Palace. Part of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's head had managed to enter Ziyang Palace. In this instant, all of the beings in Ziyang Palace felt a destructive and chaotic aura. Within the God's Array building, Senior Marshall Brothers Huge, Sin Wu, and company were all trying to comprehend the array's blueprint. Shua, whoosh. 2 figures landed near a hole at the edge of Ziyang Palace. One had purple hair, and the other had purple and blood-colored hair. There are a lot of flaws in the Forbidden Array that can be used as a path of escape. Zhou Feng faintly nodded his head. After saying this, he pointed the substandard God arm guard toward the ground where they were standing. Wing wing! A silver light flashed around the surface of the arm guard, which then started to shrink and turn into a black dot. Only a faint spatial disturbance could be felt before it quickly calmed down. Success! Zhou Feng merged his senses into the substandard God weapon and found that there was a very clear black dot within it. Zhou Feng used the misty spatial world to create a spatial point. This spatial mark only exists within the Divine Illusion dimension, meaning that we can't use it when we go back to the continent zone because the Divine Illusion dimension is a roaming dimension that only touches the continent once every 100 years, Nan Gongxing warned. The tiniest miscalculation in a teleportation could mean a difference of billions of miles. They might teleport into some random death trap, or more likely, dying in the chaotic flow of space. I understand. If we had the spatial marking on the continent zone, we could return even from the Divine Illusion dimension because the continent zone is in a stable dimension. Zhou Feng sighed. If the Divine Illusion dimension wasn't moving every second, then they would be able to return whenever they wanted after they became strong enough. For the next day or so, Zhou Feng and Nan Gongxing appeared around the edges of Ziyang Palace and created a total of 19 spatial markings they could use to escape. Although my strength isn't very strong, it should be enough to travel this distance at least. Zhou Feng gave a faint smile. You might not be strong enough, but you have me. A wicked and confident smile formed on Nan Gongxing's face. His strength could be said to be greatest amongst the outsiders that had entered Ziyang Palace, and he had space-type abilities as well. That's good. Zhou Feng paused for a moment as he felt the change in Nan Gongxing's personality. Although Nan Gongxing hadn't reached the stage where he would kill his own family, he had indeed changed quite a bit. For example, he was now crueler and more bloodthirsty. Time passed by quickly. There's only 3 days left. Some of the kings from various forces were becoming uneasy. The shadow of death was becoming closer and closer. They could hear the occasional roar of the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. In the last 3 days, Wu tilde boom, boom, boom. The God's Forbidden Array was extremely faint, as if it could shatter at any moment. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon might charge in at any moment now. Senior Marshall Brothers Huge took in a deep breath. We're almost done. We've confirmed the two biggest flaws and are constructing an array to transmit our power. Beads of sweat appeared on Sin Wung's forehead. No matter how high one stood, they would feel pressure and panic in front of the threat of looming death. The kings outside the God's Array building all went inside and helped out. Half a day later, the majority of a 5-colored whirlpool array was constructed. It all depends on luck now. Zhou Feng gave a sigh as he touched the substandard God Arm Guard. At this moment, the God's Forbidden Array was the weakest it had ever been. Crack! The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's head had already entered Ziyang Palace. Wu Tilda. Doomsday has finally arrived. The roar of a dragon shook heaven and earth as it resounded throughout Ziyang Palace. Wu Tilda boom! A flaming destructive aura swept over and turned the nearby buildings black. It's over. Is this the end? The elites within the God's Array building fell into despair and fear. There's still a chance. Zhou Feng's eyes became sharp as he touched the substandard God Arm Guard. Bo Tilda. The elites and experts all poured their true yuan into the 5-colored whirlpool array. Go! Sin Wung and Senior Marshall Brothers Huge guided 2 5-colored beams of light out from the whirlpool array. Whoosh, whoosh. These 2 5-colored beams of light merged into the 2 biggest flaws of the God's Forbidden Array core in an attempt to repair it. Life or death depended on this, and everyone held their breaths as their hearts tightened.